Toronto City Hall reporter Shawn Jeffords has been following the potential property hike all week. He joins me now to talk more about it. I feel like, Shawn, people still have a bit of a sticker shock because it's like, my rent is expensive, my mortgage, gas. Life in Toronto feels more expensive than ever. Now I kind of have to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't blame anyone for feeling that way. 10.5% property tax increase, if it's passed, and it is still proposed right now, will be the single highest property tax increase since amalgamation in 1999.
And it's not just 10%.
No.
There's potential here for it to be even higher.
That's right. So you've got the property tax increase, but then you've also got this federal impact levy. That's what the budget chief, Shelley Carroll, is calling it. And this is all about funds that the city is trying to get out of the federal government to support shelters for refugees and asylum seekers. You know, that's a 6% levy. And what they're saying is if the federal government doesn't come up with that money, taxpayers will have to pay that, and it will be assessed on the property tax bill. So combined, you're talking about a potential 16.5% property tax increase, which is huge.
It is huge. There is a bit of a deadline for that, right? Like, we should get an answer soonish?
That's right. Shelley Carroll says she needs to hear back from the federal government by January 26th. To avoid putting that 6% levy onto property taxpayers.
So in addition to the sticker shock, I think a lot of the response we've been hearing from people is, I do kind of get it, because you look around and you see city services, there's a lot of areas that are struggling, that are challenged right now. So people do understand something's got to be done.
That's what Mayor Olivia Chow has been saying since she ran in the by-election campaign in the spring, that we've got to have a tax increase to help fund city services. And she said that in my year-end interview with her about 3 weeks ago, just saying, look, we've got to fix up our park washrooms, our garbage bins, we have to improve service in the TTC. And that's what she's been saying over the last few days about the need for a property tax increase. So there is that acknowledgement that this will pay for that, but that's not the whole story, right? Mm-hmm. The city has a $1.8 billion deficit, and that's kind of springing from COVID-related expenses, fees that have been accruing over years. These were life-saving services during the pandemic, and they've carried forward. They've had an impact. The province, the federal government has stepped up in the past to help relieve those pressures. Not so much anymore, and that's going to be rolled into the budget moving forward.
I know we hear property tax increase, we think of homeowners, condo owners, but you've been getting some questions about potential impact for renters, so this could trickle down.
I think that's a natural question, and the assumption I think a lot of people make is that, well, you only pay property taxes if you own a home in the city, and the reality is that those increases are passed on. If you're a landlord and you get a property tax bill, you generally are going to probably increase the rent for the people who are paying that. And there is some concern at the city that this particular tax increase might give rise or cause for some property owners to raise rent above rent controlled guidelines. Essentially, there's a clause in the legislation that would allow them to apply to the Landlord Tribunal Board to do that. There are a lot of factors at play here, but it's something to watch over the next number of weeks. It'll be a prominent part of the debate, I think.
Right. You've said it this week, this is far from a done deal. This is only the beginning of the budget process. So tell us about what happens next.
There's a lot of process involved. So we'll start with telephone town halls and budget review meetings at City Hall this week. Then there will be in-person consultations at civic centers across the city where people can show up and weigh in, tell the politicians what they think, essentially. Then on February 1st, this budget becomes Mayor Olivia Chow's budget, kind of officially. It's a city staff proposal right now. No doubt she has helped shape it, but it'll become her budget, and then she'll present that and that property tax increase in that document to City Council, who will have the final vote on Valentine's Day.
Okay, so if you're perhaps feeling a little cynical, like, what does it matter? You know, this is a time, you know, if you're going to complain, well, maybe do your research and weigh in if you can.
You know, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to do that through those telephone town halls or through these in-person sessions. And, you know, I think that should not be discounted. There is a chance here to change the process, to shift it, to suggest cuts, to suggest budget increases if that's what you want. You know, I think the process is designed so that there is a level of input here and public feedback that can be taken into account.
Okay, thanks, Shawn. We appreciate you watching it all for us. I'm sure we're going to be speaking again soon.
Lots more to do.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thanks, Shannon.